Let's talk about level 6, Chris. That is pretty serious. How close are we to a total collapse of the grid, and what would that look like?
Well, let's talk about this matter of risk. Many people think risk is probability. They say, what is the risk of a blackout? They say, what is the probability of a national blackout?
Yeah.
I must say that the probability of a blackout is very low, but probability is not risk. Risk takes into account probability of a certain incident as well as the consequences of that incident, whether they are political consequences, economic consequences, social consequences, or financial consequences. So in the case of an insurance company, they look at the financial consequences of an event. So you may have something that has a very low probability of happening, but the risk is so high that the combination of probability and the consequences are so high that the combination of probability and consequences make it a high risk. So in the eyes of an insurance company, the risk of a national blackout is growing, and it's not insignificant if you look at the very high financial consequences of a national blackout. So, a national blackout would mean you could, telecoms, you wouldn't be able to use your cell phone. You wouldn't be able to use an ATM. You wouldn't be able to buy anything in the shops using a credit card. You wouldn't be able to draw money to get cash. You wouldn't be able to get petrol at the petrol station. Water in the taps would run dry. Electricity would be out. There would be looting on a massive scale if you had no power for 2 weeks. So the consequences are absolutely huge. Insurance companies have identified this as a major risk. That's not to say the probability is high, because I've made that distinction between risk and probability. Risk takes into account the financial consequences. So just to summarize, the probability of a national blackout is low, but the risk is not insignificant at all.
But here we are 14 years later, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. Chris Yelland will leave it there. Energy analyst and the managing director at EE Business Intelligence.
702.
More than a radio station.
Let's walk the talk.